Italy is finally emerging from the longest recession since World War II, but substantial problems remain, including sky-high unemployment and a towering debt mountain. Discussing with me how the administration is going to tackle these important problems is Italy's new finance minister, Pier Carlo Padoan. Welcome, Mr. Padoan. In your previous life as chief economist for the OECD, you used to lambast countries for doing more on structural reforms. What do you plan to do as Italy's finance minister?
We plan to approve and implement important reforms in the labour market, in the tax area, in institutional reform, and we are convinced that those will boost Europe's and Italy's growth in the near future and in the medium term.
How important is an effective labour market reform in Italy, and what does your government plan to do?
It's a comprehensive reform that's now being discussed in Parliament, looking at three main issues. First of all, facilitating entry in the labour force of the youth. Second, simplifying the contractual arrangements so that productivity and remuneration are much better aligned. And third, reconsider the ways resources for active labour market policies are utilised, linking them to more incentives to seek a new job when that is available.
Your government has just approved tax cuts for the low and middle income people in Italy, funded in part by spending cuts. Do you think you will have to go beyond the deficit limit agreed with Brussels?
No, the deficit is shrinking and will continue to shrink next year so that we fully adhere with European requirements, and also we fully adhere with what is required by the Italian law on budget equilibrium. So we will gradually introduce permanent spending cuts so that permanent tax cuts are fully funded.
Italy will be leading the European Union as of the 1st of July in next semester. What are your plans for economic policy in the EU? What do you think should change?
I think the time is ripe to be putting seriously on the table the issue of growth and jobs. We have paid lip service to that for a long time. At the same time, we have completed fiscal consolidation, serious and important adjustment in the periphery, repair of the financial system, banking union. Now Europe has to be serious about unemployment, which is unbearably high and diffused throughout the union, and low growth. So we must use all our firepower to address those problems.
Does that mean changing the fiscal rules, for example, the fiscal compact, or do you think that's not necessary?
That's not in discussion. The sources of growth in the medium term come from structural change, innovation, more finance to small and medium enterprises. And we have all the instruments to achieve that, while at the same time continuing on fiscal consolidation. However, fiscal consolidation can be made more growth-friendly by changing its composition, and more equity-friendly also by changing its composition. So we have to be more careful about the quality of fiscal consolidation than in the past.
And how worried are you about the risk of deflation in the Eurozone, and do you think the European Central Bank should do more?
I think that it would be appropriate to go back to the equilibrium inflation rate in the Eurozone, which, as we all know, below but close to 2%. Now we're far away from that. The deflation risk must be monitored very closely, and this is what the ECB is doing, and I appreciate the fact that the ECB has declared to be ready to use new unconventional instruments if needed.
And finally, on the Italian banks, the situation for them has improved quite a lot over the last few months. Markets seem willing to buy Italian equity more than in the past, and banks are raising capital. But do you think the situation remains worrying for some? How does your government want to monitor the situation?
Of course, the government and the central bank are monitoring the situation. However, the Italian banking system has proved to be highly resilient, given the fact that the Italian economy has gone through more than 2 years of deep recession. In spite of that, the Italian banking system has proved to be robust, and it's now, as you said, raising capital so that when we go back to more normal macroeconomic conditions, it will resume in full speed its task of providing credit to the economy.
Mr. Padoan, thank you very much.
Thank you.